All right, so we made our chi-square goodness a fit. Now let's do a chi-square test of independence. And so I'm going to add a sheet. And what you could do is, if you want these all in one place, that would probably be a good thing. Just rename your sheets so you can find them a little better. But this is our chi-square test for, for independence. Okay, in this case, we have no hypothesized data. We're just checking two variables. And so again, let's go with 3 by 3. So you could make a template for any size. So this is variable 1, and we have column 1, column 2, column 3, and here we could put the row sum, like that. Then here, variable 2, well actually I guess if I want to do that, I'm going to real quick just move these, move them over by 1. I could have inserted a column or something like that, but so over here I'm going to have row 1, row 2, and row 3. So this is variable 2. Okay, so these are my two variables, and then my levels for each one. And if we just put some numbers in here, so like 10, 15, and 20. Now I'm going to put in a row that's, why not, just double of that, so that would look very dependent. My bad, very independent, in that it wouldn't matter which row we're in, we get the same proportions of things. But now if I put one in that's quite a bit different, I'm going to double it again, but I'm going to go backwards. So 80 and 60 and 40. Now it does seem like there's a possibility of some dependence, because it would definitely matter that I'm in row 3 as far as these proportions, relative proportions, compared to the other two rows. And so we'll see what we get for that. Now, so I need to get a row sum. So this equals the sum, and get that. Okay, hit enter, and again I can just copy and paste that down. I'll go ahead and paste it here. The bottom's a 0 at this point, but now I also want to get column sums. So call sum, like that, and so this is the sum of those 3. Okay, so I have that, and if I drag that over, that'll fill in. So again, I can copy and paste, do whatever I want. And so there we go, and I'm just going to right away highlight these, because this is where I would need to put my data in, but the other is set no matter what I do. And so there's my data. Now I need my expected. And what I'm going to do for now is actually, for the expected, I'm just going to copy all of this. So copy, and I'm going to paste that. Whoops, I hit paste special, I guess. Paste. And okay, so the row sum and all that is the same now. I don't want that to be yellow, so I'm going to go up here and say no fill. But here are my expected values, and what we do for the expected value, so I'm going to just delete all that and put in my formula. So the expected value, I just need to take that number times that number divided by the total. And so now I want to copy this sideways, but always use this column when I copy sideways, and so if I don't want that column to change, I need to put a $ in front of that, and every time I want to divide by that 315, and so I'm going to put a $ in front of those. Now, but also when I copy down, I don't want that, let's see, so when I copy sideways, oh yeah, so I gotta, that 40, yeah, so that 45, when I copy sideways, I don't want that to change. But when I copy down, I don't want this row 7 to change either, and so I put a $ on that. And now if I hit enter, I get my expected number there. I can drag that down, and notice I get 110 for that column. If I drag that over, I get my 45 for that row. Everything adds up, but these are my expected values. And so now it's I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller so we can see a little bit more. So now I need to also then get my numbers for my chi-square. Now here I don't need the parts around, so I really just am going to fill in 3 by 3. Okay, and so again, what we do to get our chi-squared is we need to do, this is equal to our data minus our expected number. Okay, that thing's squared and then divided by our expected number. Now I don't need any $ in here. No $ needed in here because every time I move, I need to do everything relative to that cell. So I hit enter, and I'll drag that down those two to get those numbers, drag that over that way to get those numbers, and notice our expected values in the middle, they were all exact. I got all zeros there. And so now for my chi-square number, my chi-square statistic, and I'll go ahead and write stat this time. I didn't do that the first time. It'd probably be better if you did say stat. And that equals, and it's just the sum of everything in here. So I have that. I hit the close the parenthesis, and there's my chi-square stat. My degrees of freedom in this case, I'm going to put them here just so we can see them. So my DOF, this is 3 by 3, so I take 2, that 3 minus 1. You could even write it just to help you remember, you know, as 3 minus 1 for the columns times 3 minus 1 for the rows. And so my degrees of freedom is 4, and my p-value is, well, once again, it's just a chi-square, so we saw that was chi-dist. And we take our number, then a comma, then our degrees of freedom, close that, and we get a p-value that's pretty small. Not too surprising with that 80 and 40 switched like that. You know, it seems reasonable we would get a pretty small p-value. It seems like it definitely does matter a lot that we're in row 3. And again, I could change that. I could, what if that's a 70 and this is a 50 over here? So 70, and notice everything updates as soon as I put it in, but I'll do a 50 over there. And now we're at 0.01, so you see it's getting close. And yet these are still pretty far off the proportions from the first 2 rows. And by the time, if I went to 60, 60, and 60, where it just didn't matter, I'm up to 0.21. So you can very quickly try different numbers to get your different data in there.